got the clothing off, no one else around. Something about the way I felt her. No one could have known. You might think I'm bad. Started with a chain reaction. Should've known it'd be good. Everybody's waiting on you. Even when they're beating you, everywhere you put it, even when
We are live and direct today with the group Pickwick, who have a new album out called Lovejoys, playing Club Cafe tonight. You guys are from Seattle. First, let me be the first one to officially welcome you to the new home of Amazon, because we are going to get that. So we'll be right up there with you.
Yeah, it's one of the most talked about strange Seattle occurrences. So I actually have an entire podcast dedicated to the effects of Amazon moving to Seattle. It's called From the Green Room. I talk with other musicians in the city who also can't afford to live there anymore.
Well, another thing about Seattle, I think a lot of people, if you asked, random person on the street, what is Seattle music, a very good percentage of the people are going to say Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains. But, it's 2017. Can you kind of give us an update on what the music scene in Seattle is like now?
There's no one unifying genre umbrella, which is cool about Seattle. I think it's always been that way. So, there's groups like the Moondoggies, Shabazz Palaces. They're not new bands, but, bands that we're peers with that we love. And, it's diverse. It's cool.
Do you think it's even possible to kind of capture that lightning in a bottle for a specific city anymore?
Yeah, I do, if it's affordable enough. Just because people get together and they do weird stuff.
And people catch on, and as people come into the shows, then maybe someday. Okay. And I'm sure it helps to have support from a great local radio station, too. And you guys have KEXP up in Seattle.
I know. We're really fortunate to have KEXP. It's like even as things become more fragmented, where I do feel like maybe even 5 years ago, it felt a little more unified. Bands they felt like more consistent entities. You could count on them continuing to exist. But KXP provides that unifying force where, it helps us all kind of come together.
Yeah. Well, I was listening to a few episodes of your podcast from the Green Room, and you deal with a lot of issues surrounding life and music in Seattle. How did you get into podcasting in the first place?
We were just in an actual green room, and I was asking a bunch of strange questions to the opening band, and then one of the guys in the band was like, "Hey, you should record this," and so we started. Yeah, it's been fun.
What have you learned from that process?
It's basically group therapy, right? Because we're all going through the same thing, but it's hard to talk about the artistic struggles, the financial struggles, what life is like, having this thing that you're perpetually following and trying to make work, but it's always kind of in the air and amorphous and whatever.
Well, I think it can give you a voice, to try to maybe affect change in some small, maybe big way in music and the world and whatever. Can you do that through music, or is it just doing it, just making music is how you do it?
I think some people, like Kendrick Lamar, have the words, and the ability to be able to convey ideas of social change. But John Richards, on the podcast that him and I did together, he's a KXP DJ. He said that especially now in these uncertain times, just continuing to make art, show up at the shows, and do what you do, in his view, is an act of resistance in itself. So, maybe that's a little blown up, but I believe that. It's uncertain and it's strange, but if you continue to make art, it helps us cope, and hopefully it helps other people too.
Yeah, sure. I mean, because I don't get anything overtly political from your music, but like you say, it's just that the act of doing it can definitely help you get there. So, you guys have been playing out for a long time, and we're just getting a little taste today. What is the live Pickwick experience? Because I think a lot of the songs on the album feel like they could get stretched out a bit.
Yeah, there's a little bit of jamming. I'm not afraid to use that term.
That's okay.
Then, the record is a glimpse of things that we do and have done, but then it also gets a lot trashier and more raucous, and there's sweat.
All right, stay away from the front row then, I guess.
Or just come closer if that's what you're into.
Yeah. It's like going to a Guar show, I guess.
Yeah. Or SeaWorld.
Or SeaWorld. Well, we're going to come back and talk all about the new album, Lovejoys, but we'd love to get a couple more songs from you.
Just because it's honest doesn't make it right. Couldn't tell the difference. You're gone every night now. But it doesn't get easier in time. I've been thinking you're always on. Don't you think it's strange? Only one that knows I'm insane. I hate to see you go. I lined up all the memories for the show. I wanted you to know. Never gonna be enough. It's never gonna be enough. Never gonna be enough for you now. I thought that you should know why I never tried on new clothes. I don't need 'em if I can just wear your robe. Oh, there's room enough for all of us around home. I wanted you to know. Never gonna be enough. Never gonna be enough. Never gonna be enough for you now. No, it's never gonna be enough. No, never gonna be enough. No, never, never, never for you now. Listen, never gonna be enough. It's never gonna be enough. Never gonna be enough for you now. No, it's never gonna be enough. I never can get enough. No, I never can get enough of you now. Oh, it's never gonna be enough. I never can get enough. No, I never can get enough. I can't keep it when I know.
It's Pickwick, live and direct on WYEP, the new album called Lovejoys, and these guys are playing a show at Club Cafe this evening. So that song called Never Gonna Be Enough, and this might be a little too inside baseball, but there was some chatter backstage about whether the drummer would be able to count it off correctly. He did.
You did a smashing job, Caleb.
It's really great to be working with professionals. So let's look back about 5 years, and it seemed like Pickwick was poised to be this massive success. You got on some big tours, opened up for some pretty big bands. Everybody loved your album when it came out, and then you get back into the studio, and you wrote a few albums worth of material.
We did.
Yeah? What happened?
Well, they went to the song Graveyard.
Okay.
Yeah. They're still on a hard drive somewhere, and like some fragments of the song sort of made it onto Lovejoys, but honestly, we just there was pressure, because of all that. So we felt that pressure, and we kind of internalized it in this toxic way, where it got into the songwriting, and the songs suffered, and they became sterile and boring and strange and like, just sitting in front of a keyboard, just, there's got to be a better melody in here. Mm-hmm. But there was no better melody than the melody that came when we first, messed around with it in the basement. So then we got rid of everything, started messing around in the basement again, and then Lovejoys came within like 3 months. So
oh, wow.
It was like 3 years of just self-loathing, and then 3 months of making a record.
And you lost the member in the meantime. Are we cool to talk about that? Or
Yeah, no, we did. Yeah, he decided to leave, and that was a bummer for all of us. And then we just kind of got back to doing what we do.
So what was that all about? Just different visions for the band, or?
I mean, he's an incredibly talented guy who was also our engineer. So, he recorded all of our first record, Can't Talk Medicine. And yeah, we were having a hard time coming to compromises on some of the engineering and production decisions. And he decided to leave in the midst of that. And then we found a new producer, Eric Blood.
Yeah.
And then, stuff went a lot quicker. I think because he wasn't, obviously you're not as objective when you're a member of the band. He had a lot of, he worked really hard and had a lot of interest in what he was doing. So he obviously had an opinion. And that didn't always work with all of us. So it was hard. It was weird. It's hard to lose a friend and, in that way.
But you did pick up a new producer.
We did.
Eric Blood, who you're just talking about. And he's best known for his work with Shabazz Palaces, great hip-hop band from Seattle. So he produced the new album. How did that come together?
He took us out to drinks for like 4 months.
Yeah, I read that he has like a friends first approach to making music. Like he didn't want to go right into the studio.
Yeah, I mean, he was booked for a while, so it kind of afforded us the time to get to know him. But it was really good for us, too, because he's an incredibly decisive and talented human with varied, abilities as a producer. But he's, difficult to read, and it took some time to, like, get to know him and for him to be able to say to us, that sounds terrible, don't do that. Let's try this.
I guess, it's brilliant when you think about it. Like, don't just come in as a professional. Try to feel everybody out, find everybody's ticks and tells. And
totally.
And then you can finally be honest.
And part of the exciting stuff with Eric was that, he kind of gave us also, too, like a mixtape, like after hearing some of the initial demos. And he was like, just listen to these for the next couple months and see if they filter into anything. And they did, a lot of really cool Stevie Wonder or Funkadelic or, some weird Tropicalia, Os Mutantes stuff. And so it was great. It was really fun.
It definitely comes through because, okay, say I'm a big fan of your band and really loved Can't Talk Medicine, and you got this great gritty kind of soulful sound, but the new one, a lot different.
Yeah.
But I think you did a really good job of kind of retaining that grit, just kind of polishing it.
Yeah, and I think, we were kind of pegged early on as like a throwback soul band, which was cool. I love soul music. And then, we expanded that where, we're obviously into psychedelic stuff. And, it took me like about a year. I washed windows for a job. But, washing windows outside in the rain and sun in Seattle, listening to Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, before I decided it actually isn't cheesy at all. That saxophone is just right.
Yeah, it's classic for a reason.
So I think that pushed us into the 70s sonically a little bit,
Okay, next album we'll touch on the 80s.
Yeah, I can't wait, right? Tears for Fears all the way.
You got anything ready to go for another album?
We actually have all the demos. We just need some money to be able to afford it. To record. Do you have any money you could give us?
Hey, I got all these friends here today, so.
No, that's part of the struggle, right? It's like we can either go on tour or record a record, and this season we chose to go on tour. But I think when we get home, just start saving up again, get into that studio. But yeah, the record's written, so we're looking forward to going into the studio.
So do you do road testing on the new material?
We haven't yet. I don't know why. We just because Lovejoys came out and then we just started playing. So we've been kind of working on the Lovejoys stuff still. But I think we're going to play a show in Seattle in January, and I think we'll dust off some old stuff and new stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
This is Pickwick. We are live and direct. This band has a new album out called Lovejoys. They're playing Club Cafe this evening. So, you know, if you're looking for something to do, we want to help these guys make some money so they can get it off the road and back into the studio. Would love to hear another song.
Yeah, this is called Ascension. What day of the week is it?
It's Monday here.
Yeah. I mean, you guys get a special, you know, saint treatment at the show if you come on a Monday night. Leave me where you left me. Thought I knew you well, and I love it how you need me. Didn't know until even admired you were put there to die up on a shelf. Didn't want attention, even though I fell. You can call it your name, you can join it with mine. However you get it, you don't wanna ever be found. So you tease ascension, never touch the ground. Oh, I hate you to see this, it's only a sound. Oh, I lie about the difference, I lie about leaving you alone. Even if I tell you never touch the ground, oh, I got all this aching, even off the mind. Oh, we needed to leave it, oh, love it behind. You didn't feed it or plead it, like I tried to tell. Oh, meet me in the morning, you gon' tell it so well. Oh, I know that the feeling is coming, the one you see when you fail. Cause I know how to hit it now, so you'll never know touch the ground. You lie, but when you tell it so Cause I know how to hit it now, so you'll never know touch the ground. You lie, but you tell it so well. Leave me where you left me, nothing left is mine. No, you leave me like the dawn is come, be there in time. No one believes it, but no one else can tell it so well.
It's Pickwick, live and direct on WYEP. Lovejoys, the name of the new album. These guys are playing a Club Cafe tonight. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having us.
And we're going to send it back to the studio now.